What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Los Wise Guys podcast. I am your host, Dan Papa Sunkiller, accompanied by the Emperor Disco. Disco,
Oh yeah, good to
how you
be
doing?
here. What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in.
Absolutely. And just for now, I threw the extra screen in there just to be chat. Henry's in there. Threw in a couple
Yeah,
of things. I just realized you misspelled seconds, so you did that in front of the internet. Just letting you know.
Oh, seconds. I didn't even
Seconds.
catch that.
I just noticed it now when I looked over. It's all fine.
Just
You
a
know,
few seconds.
Henry, I'm curious. Do you just have it like like the copy and paste ready for like, can I get a birthday shout out? You just every time we log out, you just hit like Control V and it just pops up. I'm just curious. But yeah, so it's another episode. Like I was telling people on Twitch, where you can go live and watch us live, twitch.tv/those wise guys if you're checking us out later on YouTube. Talking about it's just me and Disco for this episode. Eslam couldn't make it due to issues. And we are going to be
Personal
talking about
issues.
exactly. He's fine. Everybody's alive.
Yeah,
But we're going to be talking about The Last of
for
Us.
now. Not kidding. I'm just kidding.
Why not? Why not throw a threat out there? Why
That
not?
was terrible.
For now. Oh man, this man has Shrek Shadow just hovering over him. He thinks he can do whatever he wants at this point. But yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about it. So we've talked about The Last of Us as a IP quite a few times on this podcast as a whole. Around the time is he dying from rocks at his foot? Exactly. It's exactly what's happening. That's but
Those
yeah,
damn
so
rocks.
I'm telling you. So around the time Disco, you became like a permanent fixture on the podcast. We were in the middle of like Last of Us 2, the video game had just come out. Me and Eslam were trying to do an episode on it. This is when we were recording weekly. And because of whatever reason, we kept on having to push it back. And then like finally we were gonna do it. And that's where Disco, you were able to like join us weekly. It was like, Disco, we're about to do this. You really need to play this game. So we waited for you to play Last of Us 1 and 2, and we pushed it back even further. So we did eventually have our chat with the whole with all three of us between what happened for Last of Us Part 2, which at the time was very divisive, which this show seems to be as well. But let's just get into it, man. Just top level, right off the bat, how did you like Last of Us Season 2 on HBO?
I personally thought it was good. I know a lot of people like on the internet gave it a lot of shit and the casting and this and that, but overall, I still thought they did tweak it some stuff, which kind of took a little points away, but not enough to be like, oh man, this show's terrible. But other than that, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun watch. Nothing crazy to like legendary or never gonna forget this type of stuff, but it was definitely worth the watch, in my opinion, especially if you played the game just so you could kind of compare, even just for the compare sakes,
Yeah.
completest sake, just you've played the game, watch the show. At least that's how I felt watching it. And overall, I think they did a pretty good job. They did change some stuff, but overall, it didn't take away too much for me. I didn't even notice half the stuff. I had to like look on the internet and stuff to see like, oh, they did change that and kind of bring back my memory because I got that Alzheimer's. So, but overall, just off the top, I would recommend it. I would say, especially if you played the game and you have like history with it, definitely give it a shot.
Okay. Yeah. I'm right there with you. I liked the show. I liked it a lot. I would say I prefer season 1 over season 2 for the show. But I feel like I know we're gonna get into spoilers. Like you can't talk about this and not talk about spoilers.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm trying to avoid it.
Surface level.
Yeah,
it's hard to stay.
One thing I will say is that because the second game, what's up, Jack?
Guys here.
So what I'm gonna say is the second game, Last of Us Part 2, is basically what season 2 is taking over. Except Last of Us Part 2 is divided into. I'm not gonna get into it right this second, but into sections. And this is like the first half, you could say, of the game, or maybe even the first third, depending on how you're looking at it. So it's kind of like I feel like that's one of the reasons why this season didn't hit as hard, because season 1 was the first video game. We got a complete story. We didn't get a complete story for season 2. And this portion of the game is very not story heavy. It's a lot more focused, I'd say, on gameplay. Hence, when you translate it to TV, it's not going to be as much because you can't. How do you really incorporate gameplay in TV? You have to focus on the story,
Yeah.
and there
You
isn't.
can only show them sneaking around and killing people so much before it's just overdone.
So it's like I feel like the next season is going to be very story heavy. Because we're going to get more background on characters we're not familiar with yet, and stuff like that. But yeah, basically, at the end of the day, I did enjoy it. I am a fan of Last of Us as a whole. But yeah, no, it was great. And just like Henry pointed out, I do want to mention that as well. I was going to bring it up. When I got the platinum trophy for The Last of Us Part Two, that's when Henry was singing his version of "No Easy Way Out" from Rocky Four, live on this channel, twitch.tv/Los Wise Guys. And I have that saved somewhere, where I'm popping the last trophy. I'm platinuming The Last of Us Part Two while Henry is singing a song that he looked up the lyrics and didn't know how this music went, so he just went for it. So it's great. It's fun content.
That's dedication.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess we can kind of get into it, and kind of talk about what was going on. I guess this is your spoiler warning right here at this point of the show.
I'll be right back.
You cut yourself off when you said seconds. All right, so we're not going to get into spoilers just yet. We'll wait for Disco to come back. But yeah, so like I said, I was a big fan of the game, and Disco's back.
All right, 2 seconds.
All right, you're good.
2 seconds.
Literally, you're just like, all right, 2. And that was.
I realized I pressed it too soon, but I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just leaving."
I was like, "Yeah."
They got the gist.
There he goes. But no, it's all good. So yeah, we'll just get into it, man. We'll do like a little mini summary between the two of us of what's going on. We don't need to go too into detail. Back in the day when you streamed playing games and I had COVID. Good times. Good times, Henry. But yeah, so all right, let's jump in. This has been X amount of years. What is it, like 3-4 years after the first season? And it starts off just like in the game. We see Abby's crew is out there. They're kind of just in the middle of nowhere. If people haven't played the game, you have no idea who Abby is. Just like people who played the game back in the day, you have no idea who this woman is. You just know it's a group of people that are near this town, and you kind of go from there. So they added a couple things, but we still got the gist of it. We still get the whole they go out for their patrols.
How did you feel about the casting for Abby?
Me personally,
I do feel like she plays a good Abby, but also at the same time, I feel like she would have been a better Ellie, like visually.
Yeah.
Also, just because Abby in the game was a little more like
she was built,
muscular, yeah, jacked. So it doesn't take away too much from the story at all. But I don't know, just kind of certain little nitpicks. But overall, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get to see much of what's it, Caitlin Dever, something like that. We didn't get a chance to see much of her as Abby, but the little bit that we did see of her as Abby knocked it out the park. Like she nailed
I totally agree.
Yeah, nailed it 100%. So that's why I'm looking for spoilers. Season 2, it's about Abby. So like I'm looking forward to seeing her in the starring role.
She's gonna come back next season, jacked, just character growth.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so basically we got to do our patrols, and they go out there. We got to see a little bit of what's going on in the world. We have the big barnyard scene where it's Ellie dancing with Dina, and then somebody calls them out for being gay, and then
the D word.
Exactly. And then Joel comes in, he he knocks out the guy. Ellie's just like, hey, don't fight my battles for me, basically, blah blah blah. And then all that, like just like it was in the game. We got introduced to
I watched some videos on IGN where they actually had like comparisons, and, and a lot of season 2 was kind of spot on, like
visually, shot for shot,
like really, really close. Like maybe some changes, but overall, like the dialogue and the visuals were pretty dang close.
Oh yeah, that I mean, when they first show Jackson, like the first shot they show of it, where it's like going up, it's panning up the camera, and you see the little street with the buildings and stuff on the side. perfect like rendition of what it looked like in the game. I played Last of Us 2 a lot, so it's like
Oh
it's a
yeah,
lot of it is like burned
it's
into my
ingrained.
head. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like so I know I remember Last of Us Part 2 a lot better than I remember Last of Us Part 1, which is the opposite of most people. But
I feel like they took a lot more liberties in part one, and in part two they kind of stuck more to the story. I wonder if they're like
well,
listening to fans or
they
just
did
kind
change a little bit. The last, I mean, right here first, first thing I want to say right off the bat, Neil Druckmann, everybody making Last of Us the show. For the love of God, don't listen to the fans. Don't listen to any of the fans, please.
please do not.
Just do what you're doing, please, for the love of God. I can't. I've heard the
Especially,
dumbest fucking thing.
especially Bella Ramsey. I feel so bad for her. Like, especially the second season, she's just been getting it so bad.
Well,
Like,
the thing is, how much do you remember of what happened internet wise during the second video game?
during the second video game, like COVID.
Yeah, like how the world was reacting to the game, because I know you played it a little bit after us, but you still played it fairly
Didn't they
shortly
go
after the game
crazy
came out.
because Joel died or
Yes.
something? Like
So
death threats and everything.
that and Abby. So the fact that Joel died and the fact that Abby became the protagonist, the person who killed Joel, halfway through the game, people lost their shit. People quit the game. They sent death threats to Neil Druckmann. They sent death threats to Laura Bailey, the actress who played Abby, and her unborn child at the time.
Oh dang.
So
That's
it's like
ruthless.
people lost their shit. I get it. People are big fans of The Last of Us, but they're also stupid. Like, it's just like it's a game. The whole point of the game is basically the story is them showing you, hey, there is no right and wrong in this world. It is survival. That is it. So it's like the whole point of the game is like you're backing Ellie. When you're playing the game, you're playing as Ellie. Oh my God, they killed Joel. You have this connection with Joel from the first game. You're out for revenge. You're killing all these people. And then shit happens. Then you switch over to Abby. And yes, you are supposed to be mad. You're supposed to be like, why am I playing as her? And as you're playing as her, you realize, wow, she's a person. She has motivation. Is she in the right or is she in the wrong? And then you get to a point in the
Yeah.
game where Ellie really is the fucking bad guy at one point. You're just like, how am I supposed to root for Ellie? I can't,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
she did
It
so many things
really
wrong.
it really makes you question your morals, and then it's like you have to look past the basic layer, the surface layer, and look at the motives, and then you look at the motives, and it's just like, damn, I don't know who to root for. Like I sympathize with both, and
Exactly.
it's at
That's
the
the whole
end,
point of it.
and
The
then
thing
towards
is,
the end of the game, you really gut wrenching. It's just how far revenge could take you, and all that
yeah.
stuff. It's insane.
I mean,
The storytelling.
Last of Us 1 was the ending was divisive, because you have a lot of people who are just like, did Joel do the right thing? Did Joel sacrifice humanity for one person? And is that okay? Or is it like, hey, this is his surrogate daughter. He's going to do whatever he has to do to protect that person. I'm not the person to say he's right or wrong. Nobody is. But a lot of
Yeah.
people walked away with that saying, well, obviously he's going to do that. That's his surrogate daughter. Hey, that's your opinion. But a lot of those people who went to Last of Us Part 2, they're like, no, this is bullshit because they're trying to make it look like Joel was the bad guy the whole time. It's like, he kind of was. Joel was a fucking
It
smuggler.
depends how you look
Joel,
at
yeah, but
it.
it's like Joel, even in the first game, not even the first, not the second game, not the show, like in the very first game that came out, Joel talks about how he himself is a bad guy, that he's done shit. Tommy left him because of the shit they did. He's like, I can't live that life no more. The infected are the only ones who are right. They just spread in love by controlling your body. I guess so. That's what the fungus is. Love.
That's what Henry said.
But anyway, I'll do the like quick review for the season. So we go through what's going down. Abby meets Joel. This time the differences were in the game. Joel and Tommy met Abby and her crew. In the show, it was Joel and Dina.
Yeah.
While Ellie was out patrolling with Jesse. All that was different. They changed up who was with who. But while that happens, it's not too bad. Like, I kind of get story wise why they did it, but basically they drug Dina. Ellie goes out looking for them. At this point, they've already shot Joel's leg out, his knee. They're beating him with a golf club. They beat down Ellie and have her watch as Abby finally, ends him. She straight kills Joel right in front of her.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. I was watching it with the wife, and she was like, "Oh my god!" Just like what you would expect. She just did not see that coming. Like, not Joe.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna ask.
Especially so gruesome too.
Oh
Just
yeah,
like, what did I just watch? Like,
I'm gonna
no.
ask you about what her perspective was on the show, because I'm assuming she hasn't played the game, right?
No.
Yeah, I'll ask you about that a little bit later. But yeah, so we get to that. Ellie, she gets up, she's on her revenge tour. And what they changed this time, a couple things here before she goes out, because it's like almost immediately in the game, it's just like she goes out to Seattle, and Dina's like, "Hey, I'm rolling with you. I'm ride or die." In this one, there's a little bit of time in between because she had to heal up, and they show her speaking with the psychiatrist, who's a brand new character played by Catherine O'Hara, who did amazing job in the show. So she was only like in a few episodes, but she was so fucking good.
Yeah.
And then she has reasons for hating Joel, which we find out later on. But she talks to her for a bit. She talks to Tommy for a bit, and then like all this shit goes down. And then difference here in the game, Tommy goes out after Joel. And while Ellie's like, "Hey, we should do this," and Tommy's like, "Absolutely not. We can't do this. We're not gonna do this. It's not safe." The next day, Tommy leaves. And, Ellie's like, "What the fuck? You just told me we shouldn't go." So then Ellie and Dina goes
Okay,
to
I
Seattle
do
after.
remember that.
Yeah. So in the show, it's different. It's Ellie and Dina go out, and then later on, Tommy and Jesse go to find them. In the
Yeah,
game,
yeah.
it's Jesse on his own goes out and looks for them. But yeah. So they go out. They go to Seattle. They did the damn thing. They did take on me. Very happy about that.
It was a good scene, especially the way it had like Dina, like, I don't know, the way she was looking at her too was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, it reminded me of Step Brothers, where she was just like, you have the voice of an angel, like, yeah, mixture of Fergie and Jesus.
That's one where I remember in the game, it was like, that's one of the things where I was like, they did it like perfect. It was just like exactly how the game was. And shout out to Dina, fucking MVP of the season. Like, in my opinion, she was the best character in the whole show.
She definitely held strong.
Yeah.
Issa Bella Merced. She was Dora the Explorer.
I knew I seen her somewhere. Okay, yeah, the live action thing.
Like, not see that now. Like, when I see her around, she's blowing up.
Unless I'm mistaken, she's gonna be Hawkwoman in the Superman movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
she was in Madam Web. She's like everywhere.
Yeah, not gonna hold that against her. But
that's not her fault. But she's in Marvel.
Yeah, but yeah. So they so we get that they basically, Ellie's out there. They're on their revenge tour while they're going out, and this is before. Yeah, this is when they get to Seattle and they kind of get captured. Shit goes down. They're running away, and they reveal, when they do the whole reveal of Ellie letting Dina know that she's immune to whatever. It was interesting how they did it, because in the game, remember, everything is spread not only through bites but through the pores, so they have to wear like gas masks. So in that scene in the game, when they're in the train station or whatever, and they're trying to get out and they're stuck in the turnstile or whatever it's called, what happens is Ellie's mask gets ripped off, and then Dina's like trying to take her mask off, and Ellie's like, no, keep yours on, I'm fine. And then Dina's looking at her, she's like, how the fuck are you not going crazy and turning right now? And like, that's how the reveal has happened. In the show, they don't have it yet that it's spread through the air. It's only through bites. So in this one, they had to put Ellie has to put her arm in front of Dina, and get bitten. And then they reveal.
Well, they do have the spores, but it's just not like widely known.
The spores were just introduced to this season. The spores didn't exist in season 1. Yeah.
Okay.
So the spores, like in the beginning of Last of Us game, like right off the bat, we know spores are bad. You're walking around with a gas mask in the game.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So here it's finally introduced in Seattle in a certain location, which, like you said, is unknown that spores do exist. But yeah, so that's how they do the reveal. And then we do the whole, hey, you're immune. And Dina comes back, hey, I'm pregnant.
Dina was so ready to just shoot her, though.
Yeah. Which, hey, in this world, that's what it is. Like, hey, I like you. We have this great relationship. You have to die now.
I enjoyed that scene, though, especially because, like, Ellie, knows she's not gonna turn. So how do you convince her? Like,
Yeah,
that could be the last ditch to her just trying to stay alive type shit.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's just like at that point you kind of like
shoot me.
At that point you kind of like because they didn't do the whole gas mask, because like in the game it's just like they were in there for a minute with her surrounded by spores, breathing it in and not getting infected. So that kind of like helps Dina see, it was like, oh, I guess you aren't okay. And she still did kind of watch her and stuff, but because that wasn't here, they had to like add extra tension to it.
Different way to prove.
Yeah. So we do that, and then we have the whole Dina's pregnant, and then in the show this is the first time they're like they get together, basically they have sex. In the game they'd already had sex by now. Around the time Abby's getting attacked by Joel is when Ellie and Dina are having sex in the game. So they changed that up to, I guess, to add it to this scene later on. That was one of the things that was very I was about to get to that. That's one of the things that the internet lost their fucking minds over. This game's so woke. She says she can beat up. Like, dude, this is Ellie's character. Like, Ellie would say some shit like that. Like,
I don't know. I feel like Ellie was just hell bent on revenge. Also she chose, without super spoiling, she chose revenge over.
Absolutely, she did.
A family.
Yeah, it's just my thing is Bella Ramsey's Ellie.
I could totally see that.
Yeah, like her Ellie is like, to me, she was never enough like wanting revenge. It's because she was still like, because her Ellie was so goofy, or it's just like you see her like she kind of still has that goofiness in her just a little bit, and it's just like Ellie in the game was just like straight up just like she turned into Batman. She's like just brooding. She's just upset all the time. Like, I just want to murder. I just want to murder. Yeah,
one-minded, narrow-sighted, just revenge.
Yeah, so like that's one of the things. Yeah, that's one of the things that they changed. I was like, okay, it's like I get that, but that's why I feel like it makes sense that they would like have sex at this point in the show, because it's like Ellie in the game wouldn't have done that. Ellie in the game was like hell bent on just murdering Abby at this point. Ellie in the show is kind of like still like that happy-go-lucky Ellie, to an extent. She does have that revenge still in there. And we see it when we move on to when basically they're out together trying to find whatever. They get stuck by the stalkers, which they introduced this season, which I loved how they introduced the stalkers and how the stalkers are around. They actually showed the stalkers earlier in the show. But those are basically the infected that are smart, and they kind of they hunt the
you see them kind of like poke their head out and like, oh, then
Disco. I don't know if you remember the first time that's introduced in the video game, but my God, that was fucking insane. Like,
I don't remember the first time, but I remember being like after like just being batshit scared, just like every corner, just I'm gonna see something like a little face pop out, like little Snickers.
Well, the thing is, in the game, the way it's introduced, you're by yourself, you're Ellie. You get into this one part. You're in Seattle. You get to this one part. I think at this point, Dina's already like hurt or whatever. She's just staying behind at the theater. And while you're just walking around, you get to this one section, and then you see like an infected like kind of scurry away. And at that point, you're like, well, that's weird. Why didn't they come after me? And then you just kind of keep playing, and it's just like you hear them in the room, but you can't tell from where. And in the game, they have that thing where it's like you press a button, and basically Ellie's using her senses to try to determine where the character's from, and it doesn't work. So you're just like, oh shit, what's happening? So it's like you're walking around and you have your little flashlight. It's a really dark room. And then the thing is like, you're just looking around, then you turn a corner, and that's where you literally see a head just like go like, it moves out the way. And you're like, oh fuck, it's hiding. And then it's just like, at that point, you're like trying to take him down, and you kill one, then you realize there's another. And then there's another. Yeah. And it's just like, they're literally like, they're trying to like flank you. And it was insane. So love
said peekaboo. Yeah, totally.
Literally, that's what they're doing. So in the game, in the show, that's where they introduce them earlier on, and then we have the scene where Ellie and Dina are surrounded by countless stalkers. Like Dina's literally trying to count them and she can't.
And warehouse. I thought that was cool, that little ability they gave her.
Yeah,
she can like count the stalkers like earlier on. Sound.
Yeah, they introduced her early on when she could count how
Did
many.
she do that in the game, or is that
No,
just like a show thing? Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know. I thought that was a cool little
Like, I
addition.
think they mentioned it, but it was just, like, in passing. It was like, "Hey, I think
Hmm.
there's 3 of them," something like that. It wasn't like her, like, getting a moment like that. But, when she, like, loses count and Ellie at this point, Ellie's just, like, in her mind, "We're dying. So, I'm gonna do what I can. You go hide over there. I'm gonna let them kill me, and maybe you can get away." That's literally what her plan is.
Hmm.
So then, she's hiding a thing, and that's where we get Jesse to the rescue, who another great character in the show. Jesse was like the true moral compass of the show. But he comes
The
in.
actor did a good job too. I
Oh,
forgot
he
his
did
name.
great. Yeah. But no, he did great. And that's where, he shows up. They get them out of there. Dina's now hurt at this point. Oh yeah, they get out, and that's where they're getting chased by wolves, and then they run into the Seraphites. And the Seraphites, that's where they introduce, like, they're just random whistles, and that's their language on how they speak to each other during hunts. And it's just like, oh shit. But yeah, Dina gets hurt. Jesse's trying to take care of her. At this point, they have to split up, and Ellie's getting ready to meet them back at the theater, but she realizes, hey, I'm really close to the hospital. Nora's there. And then she goes after Nora. Another good actress, I can't remember her name, but she's going to be the main character in Naughty Dog's next video game, Intergalactic, that actress.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So people are already hating her too. It's popular to hate Naughty Dog games, but for the internet now. But yeah, so we have our moment where Ellie and her, like, kind of, squaring off, and that's where she tells Ellie's like, what he did, like, he killed all, like, everybody, just like to sacrifice for, like, one girl. She's like, oh, I know. And then beats the shit out of Nora, which was, I feel like it hit
Tati,
harder.
her name is Tati Gabrielle,
Thank you.
and the other
uh
dude's name is Young Mazzino.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that's Nora and Jesse, respectively. But yeah, in the game, it was definitely better the way they did Ellie taking down Nora. There was like a red light that was like shining down her, and she was just like covered in blood, and she was holding like a pipe, and then she was just beating the shit out of Nora. Like, it was vicious. Like, they tried to recreate it in the show. I feel like we didn't get it there. Like, yeah, Ellie looked vicious, but not like she could have. So,
She like tricked her to run into the spores or something, right?
yeah, well, they kind of just like fell into it. Like, she was just chasing her, and they fell into an area where there
Mm.
were spores, and they couldn't get out. So that's why Nora's just like, "Hey, we're both dying. Sucks to be you." And Ellie's like, "I ain't dying."
You thought?
So yeah,
That's terrible. Just the realization, just fuck.
yeah. But yeah. So that's where we get there, and that was supposed to be our really big. That's in the game. That's the real turning point. Like, oh, Ellie's coming. She's like, she's not coming back from this. Like, she's done. And
The
then
slippery slope.
yeah. So then, we get back. At this point, Jesse is aware of Dina's pregnancy, which I don't remember if he knew that in the game or not, in all honesty. But they made that a bigger point here, which I did like.
I think he did. He did.
In the game. Okay.
I
Yeah.
saw a video where like they had a side by side, and they.
Okay. Yeah, they definitely hit harder here though with this one, where it's just talking about like we need to get back and everything. So there's that, and then we have this is one thing you and I were talking about the last time we recorded with Eslam, completely different episode. Check that out on YouTube. Just look up Those Wise Guys, find our logo. Where you're talking about how you mentioned something about how Ellie and Dina were just like, hey, Dina's pregnant, and they're just like, hey, let's just keep on going or whatever. And I was just like, yeah, that's different from the game, but I like that they did that here. And then I remember we were talking about it, I was just like, hey, let's save it for the episode. So the reason why I like the idea that they kept going at first, like when she found out they were pregnant, and then the next day they're out there and like trying to kill everybody again, is because in this world, yeah, you're pregnant. That's just everyday life. That doesn't stop anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of just like, I get it, but it's not like you're in a world where every day you wake up, you have the potential of getting killed by raiders, getting eaten alive by this fungus creature, like starving to death. Like, you are in a world where you're going to die. It's just a matter of when. So yeah, if you're pregnant, that kind of doesn't change anything. You still have to do what you have to do. Like, and I get it. Dina kind of is hell bent on revenge because they gave her an extra backstory about her mom and her sister. That was brand new.
But
But
I
like
feel
that's
like you
why,
at least have to say something, because being pregnant
yeah,
in an important moment, that can
yeah,
like be a hazard, a risk,
yeah.
because
But
like pregnancy sickness or just like crazy things like that. I feel like you should at least let the people around just so they
oh
can be
yeah,
aware.
I get that. But at the same time, it's just like it's not like she's like multiple months pregnant. It's not like she can't move around and stuff. You know, not even die, possibly stuck in a body you can't control. Yeah, that too. That's right. Because the screamers, that's supposedly what they are. It's like you're just stuck in that mind. You're stuck in that body and you can't get out while the fungus just controls it. But yeah, so basically that's why I feel like in this world it kind of makes sense where they do that. Now, if it was like she's about to, have a baby any moment, like yeah, try not to go out and go on a murder spree. But like in this moment, it's like, hey, Ellie's gonna go. So Dina's just like, listen, if you're going, I'm going. I'm not gonna let you do it by yourself. And then when she's starting to feel a little bit too sick, and that's where everybody's like, hey, we need to get back. Let's go find Tommy and let's get the fuck out of here. And Ellie reluctantly is like, yeah, okay. Until she finds the opportunity, she's like, hey, Jesse, fuck you. Abby's over here. I'm gonna go find her. So then we have that. She gets into the aquarium. That's where we have the infamous scene with Mel and can't remember his name now. Owen and Mel.
Yo,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, where Ellie's trying to like just figure out where Abby is. In the process, she kills both of them, shoots Mel accidentally, then finds out she's pregnant. And a big difference that they did this time in the show that they didn't do in the game is where Mel's just like, hey, do me a favor, take this baby out. And Ellie's just like panicking. And yeah,
Oh,
that
that
was a,
was that was a crazy watch. She's just like, yeah, just cut it.
yeah,
You're doing a good job. And it's like
yeah.
just
She's
went
like, I
into
don't know what to do.
autopilot. Just like, you're doing great. Is
Yeah.
it out? It's
Yeah, it's insane. Like that was a good touch that they added. They didn't have that in the game. In the game, it was just like I think Mel dies and then Ellie's like trying to find like something on them, and that's where she realizes, oh, Mel's actually pregnant. Like in here, like I like that they added that
yeah,
touch
she
to
like
it.
opened the code or something, and then it's
Yep.
like, oh, the
I
baby
was like,
like
oh
bump
shit.
popped out.
Exactly. So it's that, and then Tommy and Jesse come in and it's just like, oh, what the fuck did Ellie do? And then they get out of there, they go back to the theater, and then Abby finds them, immediately shoots Jesse in the face, and then she says the famous Abby line, "I let you live, and I let you live, and you wasted it."
You wasted.
Basically, I was like, "Fuck, that's," and she hit that. So that's like basically the main gist of it. I know I didn't talk about everything. I mean, we have other characters like Isaac. They really deep dove on Isaac in this show, and I thought that was great. In the game, I always said I wish there was more Isaac. We didn't get to see much of him, and they really went for it in the show. So happy about that. We got a little backstory there. We got to see some of the Seraphite stuff. I know they're saving it because that's really big in Abby's story. But we got to learn about the Seraphites, and they show you at first that they're kind of like, hey, they are just people. Um, they're like just people trying to survive. And then as we progress, you're like, well, they are people trying to survive, but they also sacrifice people.
Yeah,
So like they're kind of out there, like the cut open people's stomachs and have their guts hang out.
hang them and slice them open. Some weird
Yeah,
shit.
you gotta get that. Right.
Yeah.
You're good. So yeah, so basically that's the gist of season 2. But one thing I'll get into when Disco gets back is basically the I don't know. I feel like I'm interested to see what's gonna happen season 3. I do feel like season 3 is gonna end up being a better overall show, or simply because we're gonna have a lot more story to go with when we talk about Abby's story. We're gonna learn the importance of characters like Manny, Mel, Owen, Nora, how they have this close relationship, this bond, all of them being fireflies that later on became wolves. So I do think that's going to be pretty interesting, and I'm hoping that the internet doesn't go too crazy uh, hating on this character because Abby is such a good character, like maybe my favorite character in The Last of Us. We're gonna get that. We're gonna get introduced to Lev, which is going to be amazing. Lev and his sister's name I don't remember at the moment, but that's going to be fucking. I just can't wait. Is it the whole second game or just half for season 2? So season 2, they only show you Ellie's story, and at the very end, when Abby does the whole, I let you live. Everything cuts black, and then we wake up. Well, you see Abby wake up, and then it says Seattle Day 1, and then you see her walk out into the stadium where the Wolves live, and then the season ends. So the next season is supposed to be about Abby, and I'm not sure if it's 100% confirmed, but I did hear there was going to be a 4th season. So what I think is either going to happen is we're probably going to get the whole Abby Seattle Days 1, 2, and 3, and then have her fight with Ellie at the theater, and then end it, and then we come back season 4, the pre-sequel. Yep. We come back season 4 for the epilogue, I guess you would say, where they're all a little bit older. You have Dina and Ellie, they're raising JJ, the baby. And then Ellie gets word that there's somebody who looks like Abby out in I forget where. It was somewhere in California. I can't remember where exactly. And then she goes hunting for Abby again, and they encounter the Rattlers, the other group. I know it was really short in the game, so I don't know if they're gonna. If that's a whole season, they would have to expand on that. So we'll see where that goes there. But yeah, man. Everything good, Disco? You gotta go, or you're good to continue?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Some random person knocking on my door.
Y'all talk about Last of Us season 2.
I got something to say. You're wrong.
Oh man, but yeah, man. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. A lot of the actors are good. Bella Ramsey, I do like her as Ellie. It was a fan. Bella Ramsey, I do like her as Ellie. It's just her Ellie was a little, like I said, a little happy-go-lucky for me, but that worked when they did the flashback episode where it was Ellie's birthday or all the different birthdays, and then Joel takes her to the museum. I was like, that's like one of the greatest parts. Like, it's one of the best things I've ever seen in gaming. So it's like when they did it and they skipped some of the dinosaur stuff, which I'm a little bit upset about. They just showed the one T-Rex. I was hoping to see Ellie put hats on dinosaurs like in the game. But yeah, and then they reenacted the whole astronaut moment where they put the thing in her face and you just see like nothing but pure joy in Ellie. And I feel like it hit harder overall in the game simply because we just saw Ellie be so upset, so angry, so depressed the whole game. And then you get to see young Ellie, how happy she was.
The internet was laughing at that astronaut part because like they kept saying she looks like Buzz Lightyear with like the face thing.
God. Yeah.
And so when they put the astronaut thing out, they were like, "Are they serious? It's like Buzz Lightyear."
Oh man, I'm telling you, they are hating on Bella Ramsey, man.
Honestly, I think she did. It's it's different from the game, but it's
yeah, but it's like it's
bad.
her take. Yeah, like season 1 Ellie
was
was reminded me so much of the game Ellie in the first game. It's just this one. It's like this is her take on Ellie for the thing. This is the direction they gave her. This is how she did it. And for what they told her, I feel like she did a great job. It is what it is. Did they show a PS3?
I think Dina did great too this season.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like she helped hold it up, and they gave her a little more like depth and pizzazz.
Yeah. The one thing they did in the game for Dina that they didn't do here is at one point in Seattle Day 1, they go to a synagogue and you learn about Dina's history. She's Jewish. And, she kind of like tells Ellie a little bit about that. This Dina being, Latina, technically you still be Jewish, but yeah, they didn't do any of that, So, but yeah, that was one of the differences. Like there's a lot of, things that were different here and there. There's a couple things I didn't, mention. I'm not gonna get in detail for every single thing. If you want to watch a show, go watch a show. Just don't be an asshole about it on the internet.
Honestly,
yeah,
it really wasn't even bad at all. Like I enjoyed it. It's great.
It's like I've always said that wrestling fans are like some of the worst fans ever. And then it's just like as time has gone on, I've realized everybody's turning into what wrestling fans are. And it's like,
all
that's the internet now.
all the diehard fans are just assholes now. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
whether you're a purist and you do it exactly, it's not good
Yeah.
enough, or whether you
Yeah.
change and like do some liberties, it's like, oh, you're not
Yeah.
purist enough. Whether no matter what you do, you're effed somewhere.
Yeah. Like, try to find 10 different people and just say something like, hey, I really like Star Wars, and wait to see until somebody just starts complaining. You know, it's just like, that's just where we're at. And you know, it's like we all have it. Like, I complain about my shit too, but I'm not out here talking about, yeah, you know, I really didn't like, you know, the sequel, so I hope the character who played Rey and, you know, Rise of Skywalker, I hope she dies. You know, it's like, no,
Death threats.
like, that's ridiculous.
You've done the series a travesty.
They will say
They
which
will
one.
say which one.
Yeah, you're 100% right, Henry. That's legit what they would say. I like Star Wars. Which one? That used to be a thing that like girls would have to deal with. Anytime a girl's just like, I like playing video games, and any guy would like immediately be like, oh, what games do you play? Instead of just being like, oh, that's cool, that's fun. Do you like games? It's like, no, what do you play? Prove that you're a gamer.
Oh,
Like,
believe you.
So that's the world we live in. But yeah, man, Last of Us is cool. Pedro Pascal is another person I want to say knocked it out the park again. He wasn't in there for a lot, but the stuff that he did do, dude's awesome. It's gonna be a little bit sad. Said Candy Crush. It's gonna be a little bit sad to see if they do what I think they're gonna do. Pedro Pascal ain't gonna be in season 3. Maybe they'll give him like a scene, but if they do focus on Abby, there's
no point.
Yeah,
he's not really with Abby.
yeah, except for like, you know, he murders her father. You know, while her father's just trying to save the world.
Yeah,
that's all. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to more Last of Us gaming when that does eventually happen in about 30 years.
You think they're gonna make another game?
Yeah,
like a 3?
Yeah.
Is that official, or are you just saying that?
It's not official.
You're just saying that.
I feel it.
You feel it in your bones.
I feel it.
The wind is due west.
So their next big game is Intergalactic, like I said, starring that actress that played Nora.
Oh, okay.
But I think there was a rumor that there is a Last of Us project being worked on. Don't know how true that is or what have you. Neil Druckmann, the creator and writer of Last of Us and everything, did say that he was going to, if he had a story to tell, he was going to tell it. So we'll go from there. And
I wonder, it could always just be another story in the Last of Us world. Doesn't have to be
this. So what we're having right now, this conversation is literally the conversation people were having after Last of Us won the game, where it's just like, would there be more? And a lot of people were just like, no. And literally other people like, well, if they did, like, we told a full story. Let's just talk about other people in that world and how they would survive. Yeah, the thing is, I would love to see more stories with other people. The only problem is we're right now talking about a story that has somebody who literally has potentially the cure inside of them. So it's kind of hard to deviate from that.
Unless you find someone else that has it. Because didn't they say there was others?
So I'm going to take you back to my theory.
Henry said, I would like the story to be in different continents. So that'd be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. So what I'm going to tell you is my theory for what they should do after I played Last of Us Part 2, which I told you about on the podcast, but let's be real, you don't remember. So
I'm not even going to pretend to.
So the way the game ends, right, is Ellie, she finds out Abby is somewhere, and she tells Dina, and Dina's like, please don't go after her. You almost died last time. We almost died last time. We have a baby now. Think about our family. And Ellie leaves in the middle of the night. Dina wakes up, sees her, and she's like, tries one last time. Is like, please don't do this. If you leave, I won't be here. JJ won't be here. We're going to leave. And Ellie leaves anyway because she just couldn't let it go. So she abandons her family, goes after Abby. They go through hell, both of them, dealing with the Rattlers. They have their final altercation where they're going at it, and like at one point, Abby's even trying to be like, listen, we're done. Just please, let's not fight anymore. And Ellie's like, nah, fuck that. The only thing that
Is
saves
that the fight in the lake?
the fight, yeah, in the water, yeah, that was the ocean, but yeah,
Or the water?
yeah. That's the one where it's just like that's the one where I hated Ellie with all my heart because I remember the game. It's like press this button to punch or whatever, and I was just like, I'm not gonna do it.
Don't fight.
It's like
Put
please
your
don't.
fist down, girls.
Oh, dude, it felt so
And
bad.
at that point you've played as both, so you like felt all the motivations and all
Yeah.
the ill will, and you
So
kind of see the characters flip as the protagonist and
yeah,
antagonist, like in
dude, and that's the thing. So they go back and forth. They're fighting. Ellie, in the fight, she loses like two of her fingers. She stabs Abby. Abby stabs her. They're both like near death. And then right when she's about to fucking do the the death blow, a picture of Joel in her mind pops in her mind, and it's Joel. Their last moment together, where in the show they did it, which I haven't even mentioned, where she tells you, "It's like, listen, I don't think I can forgive you, but I'd like to try." When when she says that
oh
to
yeah,
Joel,
yeah.
that moment pops in her head, and then she was just like, "Fine, I'm gonna let this go." So then she kind of lets Abby go after she's beating the shit out of her, and Abby like they went through hell. She's like, you know what, I'm
They're
done with
both about to die. Yeah, I forgive you now.
you. And then she gets in her boat, she goes back to her house, and just like Dina said, Dina took the baby and they left. So Ellie's in this house by herself. She's sad. She doesn't have Joel. She doesn't have Dina. She doesn't have anybody. She didn't get her revenge. And then she goes to play guitar and she can't because she lost her fingers in her fight with Abby. So she
She
has
lost
nothing.
everything to revenge.
She can't even play guitar. So then she like gets a backpack, and then we're looking out the window from her house and she just walks off. So I always said, okay, what if we have a story where the focus is on Lev, the character that Abby kind of like takes care of, like
The
the
kid?
yeah, the kid that Abby
Oh,
takes care of.
I could see that.
So because basically they're Joel and Ellie, Abby and Lev, right? So we focus on Lev. It's years now. Years have passed. Lev is there. Abby's still alive. She, she's maybe older. I don't know if she's doing her hunting or whatever. They live in this other organization, and they find somebody who's like supposedly a doctor who's just like, if only they had something, like he might be able to fix this. He might be able to save the world. But, they need somebody who has something in their system. If they could just find somebody who has some type of genetic DNA, that maybe they could use that to create a cure. Lev and Abby know somebody, and they have to go find her. Ellie's been missing for, let's say, 15, 20 years. So they go out looking for this Ellie person that they had this encounter with. And then that's how we get to Last of Us 3. I always felt like that would be an interesting story.
I could see that. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, because Ellie's just gonna fuck off somewhere. She doesn't want to deal with anybody, so she's just gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
She's
that's
had
what.
enough. She's
So at
gonna
this
hold
point,
away somewhere and just rot.
yeah. And like she always said, like what she wanted to have purpose in her life, and her purpose would have been to save the world, but Joel took that away from her. So this is her opportunity once again, but she doesn't know that. So if they could just get her to whoever this person is, that's how you do it. And Lev could be the one to do it. So anyway, that was always something I thought would be interesting. But I'm not Neil Druckmann.
LWG has to pitch it. We got the ideas.
But yeah. But and I just want to say that was another great scene that they did. The whole where Ellie and Joel, they have their last moment together, before the death, where they're on the bench. Like they teased like it didn't happen at first, and then they brought it back, and then when they had that whole discussion, and Joel's just like, listen, I did what I did and I'd do it again. I'll risk the world to save you. And
Pedro was a great Joel.
Yeah.
I like how he saw her as a daughter pretty much.
That's a surrogate, especially with what happened with his daughter.
And it was interesting how when they were fighting, and then she just kind of like got to the point where it's like, I'm not your daughter. And he kind of just like caught himself, and then it was just like, you know what? You can move out to the garage or something. I don't know. I thought it was all pretty dang good. It was like pretty good writing. So, and they followed the game for the most part, and little tweaks here and there, but overall, I loved it.
I'll say before and I'll say it again: the best story ever told in gaming is The Last of Us. I'm going to stick with that. I know people are divisive and they have their opinions, and there's a lot of other games that could take that role, but I'm going down, with that until something, beats it.
It's honestly a pretty dang good duo game.
Yeah. It sure as hell ain't God of War. I don't know this obsession people have with God of War. I just don't get it. But yeah, but anyway, yeah, that's all I got to say. You got anything else you want to add on there?
No. I think they did great cast, great acting chops in the season. I do agree with you. I think season 1 I did like a little better, but overall season 2 was not bad at all, considering it was Joel died.
Yeah, it's half a story. It's like we're not seeing a full story. But Henry says something in the chat, which it's funny that you mentioned that. So for anybody who's just listening, not watching, he says she might have cured the world. It wasn't guaranteed that the surgery was going to find something to cure people. That's something that people have been saying for years. And the internet was very pissed off about a week or two ago because Neil Druckmann has been doing the rounds, doing interviews on podcasts and stuff like that. And he somebody asked him this question. It was on the Sacred Symbols podcast, Colin Moriarty's podcast. Where Neil Druckmann's just like, no, yeah, he would have done it. Abby's father would have saved the cure, would have done it if.
He said an absolute, like it would have.
Yeah, he was just like the creator of The Last of Us was just like, if Joel would not have killed him, he would have used Ellie, killed Ellie, but saved it and created a cure. It would have worked. So it's like for years, a lot of people were just like, we don't know if it's going to work. So once Neil Druckmann said that, the internet turned into, that's bullshit. You're just trying to make us say Joel's a bad guy.
Joel doesn't really know that. And you got to
Exactly.
take that from his point of view as like a father,
Yeah.
He's looking at her like a daughter. And it's like, I get it's for the greater good, but at the same time, it's not guaranteed. And
yeah.
And that's where parents can be sympathetic and reach out to them and pull on their heartstrings. Just like I wouldn't be able to trade my son or my daughter.
And that's where, like I said,
that's why it's such a great story, because it really makes you question your morals, question your existence, question your ideals, and where do you stand as a person? Like, what do you allow? What do you not? Yeah. Who do you stand with?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it does a great job of making you just do that in like reflection.
Yeah. Whether or not Neil Druckmann would have said that and confirmed it or not doesn't change anything. At the end of the day, Joel did what he felt was right. People who, played the game, they either at the time was just like, hey, Joel's a bad guy. He shouldn't have done this. Joel did what he should have done. It's hindsight now that we know. Yeah, I get that. I mean, I'll tell you though, when I was playing Last of Us Part 1, I did feel like, hey, Joel shouldn't be doing this. That's kind of fucked up. It's just like, and I know a lot of people felt the opposite way, where it's just like, no, he did what he was going to do, and like, I'm on the other side, or it's just like, yeah, Joel fucked everybody. Like, I get it. He's saving his surrogate daughter. I get that. That's where I stand. Am I right? No. Are other people right? No. Like, at the end of the day, nobody's right. That's, and Disco, you said it perfectly. Joel didn't know. And if he did, he probably still would have done the same thing, but yeah.
Especially for Joel, where he already lost a daughter. You can't lose another daughter. Like, there's just so many layers to that.
Yeah, that's a great point by Henry. He would never forgive himself if it failed. You're absolutely right. Because what if Joel did sacrifice Ellie and then it didn't work? Then Ellie
just
died
lost
from
2 daughters.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, there really is no right answer. That's what makes it such a good story.
And you could really argue both sides to Kingdom Come. And it's like,
you're never going to get there.
No one's going to have that definitive, like, oh, this is the one side that's right.
Exactly. That's why you go on the internet, just shout into the void. But anyway, do you have any final thoughts there, Disco?
No. I think we covered everything. Great series. I recommend it. I'm looking forward to the next season, and I want to see the Abby show. That's going to be insane.
They should call it that. Just call it the Abby show.
I would watch.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. We're going to probably wait a really long time, and yeah, people are going to keep doing their thing, and then good luck to I can't remember her name, Caitlin Dover, Abby. Good luck to her, because she's gonna be dealing with a lot of shit probably.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you hire a sociopath who has no empathy to get the job done. Yeah. Gosh,
Caitlin Dever.
Caitlin Dever, thank you. Yeah, that's what they thought they were doing when they hired Joel. That was the whole reason they got Joel. It was like, hey, he's a fucked up dude. He's not gonna bond with this girl. Let's get him and this other lady who were smugglers. Just transport this girl, and then backfired. But yeah, my final thoughts. I came up with a fun idea for an episode that's gonna it's gonna have to do with yours and Eslam's memory, and I would really love to do it. And I'm gonna pitch it to you guys. That's my final thought.
I'm in. You got
So that's where we're at. So everybody, thank you for tuning into this episode. Thank you for checking out our stuff live. If you're here like Henry, like Jack was, and like this little bot that's on here that says Impervious Village Jaren KJDC. You see that? Even if you're not a real person, I'm gonna shout you out. Yeah. So thank you for everybody who saw us live on Twitch.
That bot for tuning in.
And if you didn't get the chance to see this and you're watching it later on YouTube by searching Los Wise Guys, make sure to check us out at twitch.tv/Los Wise Guys and give us a comment, give us a review about our review. I want to see what that's like. And tune in 2 weeks where we do another episode. So thank you and have a good 2 weeks.